Morning of December 7th, 1941, American forces in Hawaii were critically unprepared for an enemy assault. In fact, commanders were mainly concerned with sabotage. Before the Japanese attack, fighters and bombers at airfields around Oahu were taken out of defensive positions and lined up out in the open, wingtip to wingtip. A difficult target for subversives, but easy prey for enemy planes. A battleship was moved from its strategic position to make it more accessible for inspection. Radar was a relatively new device. Many of the young officers were still training on the equipment. Japanese military planners knew that there is a dead zone created by the mountains and that American surveillance planes are not in the air on Sunday mornings. The Japanese military spent over a year planning their attack on Pearl Harbor. They knew exactly where the American airfields were and how many planes were there. They knew the location of the battleships, cruisers, and destroyers. The Japanese attack was unprovoked and undeclared, and at first devastating. The enemy had all the advantages, including the element of surprise. The toll on American forces was just short of catastrophic. 2,388 were killed, 1,178 wounded. A direct hit on the Arizona claimed the lives of over 1,100 men. The Oklahoma was torpedoed over 10 times, and over 400 sailors perished. In total, of the 96 ships in Pearl Harbor during the attack, 19 were sunk or severely damaged. The Navy had 92 of their aircraft destroyed and 31 damaged. The Army had 96 aircraft destroyed and 128 damaged. The Japanese lost only 29 planes. But that's where the Japanese victories end. Following their first two attack waves, the Japanese command decides not to launch its third, an attack that was designed to destroy fuel storage, repair fields, and dry docks.
The Japanese admiral called off the second attack, not knowing where the carriers were.
That decision became a catalyst for American forces to quickly repair sunk and damaged vessels. 24-hour work shifts set the military and civilians to rebuilding the Pacific Fleet. Of the 19 ships that were sunk or heavily damaged, 14 ships were completely restored and went on to fight the enemy.
After the attack, I went almost immediately out on a destroyer, starting to attack Marshall Islands and showing the Japanese they really didn't sink all of our fleet and so forth. I ended up spending a little over 10 years in the Navy. If Pearl Harbor hadn't been attacked and we hadn't gotten into war, that would have been the end of my naval career there.
Patriotism was the foundation for the American comeback, and the Japanese Americans of Hawaii proved themselves in battle.
We, as a Japanese American, although we're segregated, I decided to volunteer for the Army. We trained for 1 year, then went overseas.
Hawaii's original recruitment quota was set at 1,500 men. Over 10,000 volunteered.
Our motto was go for broke. That means shoot the works. We had to do good because we're under the guns, and we are going to do good.
As the segregated unit of the 100th Battalion Regimental Combat Team, they fought on the European front.
In 8 campaigns, we had 8 unit citations and about 21 Medal of Honor. We fought really hard.
For their size and length of service, they became the most decorated soldiers in the U.S. Army, with 18,413 individual awards and 9,000 Purple Hearts. Don Secchi received a Purple Heart for the loss of his arm during battle in Italy. He returned home a hero. For the Japanese, the definition of hero is rigid. In a wartime painting honoring 9 of the 10 mini-sub officers at Pearl Harbor, Kazuo Sakamaki, the first Japanese prisoner of war, is noticeably missing.
That document that he had written, "Kill me in an honorable way," was lost. And the Japanese people considered him persona non grata in Japan. Ensign Sakamaki was in South America working for Toyota Motors, and it was deliberate, shipping him out of the country.
Lieutenant Stephen Weiner met his prisoner once more at the 50th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. After 50 years, they had the chance to relive their encounter.
In fact, I told him that I admired his tenacity the fact that he was able to cope with us as well as he did.
Japanese airman Taisuke Maruyama, on the other hand, was heralded a hero. Following his successful bombing of the Oklahoma, he went on to fight at Midway and Okinawa. Through her love of Pearl Harbor, Dorinda Nicholson wrote a book about her childhood recollections so that future generations of children will understand what it's like to live through war.
The harbor is very special to me. And I approached the Arizona Memorial and mentioned to them that I wanted to tell American children this story.
Hawaii has not forgotten Pearl Harbor. A memorial now stands over the site of the sunken USS Arizona. Every year, 1.5 million visitors come from around the world to pay tribute. Not far from the memorial is the USS Missouri, where the Japanese signed their surrender. It stands as a monument to the bravery and selflessness of those who were there that day in Pearl Harbor.